Welcome back to Edge Work presented by FanDuel as we get a close-up view of So Money to start this beautiful Tuesday morning. No solo show today, so it's great. I am joined by someone else, another human being. I'm not just a producer behind the scenes, so this is great to have you back. So Money, how was your Monday, and how you feeling about the slate tonight?
Monday was good. We had my kids' last round robin game yesterday, and then the top two teams make the playoffs. I mean, make the finals. So we tied 0-0. However, because of the third tie break, which was head to head, we're gonna get in. So we're gonna play in the finals on Sunday. I mean on Saturday. It was just it was a great game. The ice was tilted the whole game, and we were just getting goalied. That I don't know if they brought in a ringer or something, but that kid, like there was first of all, there's no way he was 10 years old or 9,
6'4" or something like that.
Well, he was outstanding. He was just, I mean, he stopped a penalty shot. There were like breakaways, 2-on-1s. I lost count of shots at like 30-3. Like it was like that bad. I've never seen a kid that good at that level, and he was technically sound as well. It wasn't like he was just like standing there. You see a lot of goalies at that age, but he was incredible. I've never seen a goaltender like that at that age.
That's someone to keep an eye out for. Maybe someone the Canucks can draft to replace Demko in like 2037 or something like that here. Yeah. So when's the final? And where can we bet on it? It seems like the chat's pretty interested in that.
Yeah, so I have to I have to go through that team. They actually beat us in our third round robin game. They beat us 5-2, which is the reason why they're the top seed. But that was I was talking about this the other day. There seems to be such a huge home ice advantage with these kids, right? Like when we play in our home rink, we're unbelievable, and then as soon as you have to travel anywhere, they start out sluggish, and like it's just wild. So like they beat us in their home rink, but this one is going to be but this game is going to be neutral site. So yeah, I think that we're the better team, especially because they finished the season 500. Their like regular season was 500, so like, and they've just caught fire in the playoffs. But we're the better all-around team. They have better goaltending, we have better defense, and we have more top-end skill. So I think that our top-end skill in a game like this should shine through as long as we're not sluggish to start. We tend to start slowly, and then we start getting our legs as the game goes on. So I would make a
live stream of this game somehow.
Yeah.
We're gonna need a straight to the Edgework YouTube channel. We're gonna have to set it. Sounds like the total is gonna be set at around like 3.5, maybe. Pre-game total, maybe 3.5 for this game. Some good goaltending, some good defense. Neutral site. Maybe both teams start a little sluggish. What's the deal with the coaching here? Coaching mismatch. Which set of parents are louder? Who's gonna help make it feel more like home ice?
Oh, for sure, we win on the parents department. Like we're all like into it and stuff. But I try not to get too involved with like the X's and O's of the games unless if I'm asked, right? They like ask me about like goaltending, and like one adjustment we made was that I told them that like just coach them on ice everything. Like we're a good face-off team. Like don't try to carry it out of your own zone. Like just dump it down and we tend to win the face-off. So that was when I was asked, but like I leave it up to the coaches because I don't want to be one of those parents, right? So
you're not one of those guys that's running on the ice fighting a ref because it's a bad call. I think that happened in Seattle a couple weeks ago. And
terrible, absolutely terrible. But yeah, I would make them the favorite just because I think that if we make us the favorite, we're gonna get too exposed on our side with the betting market. So I would make it minus 115 plus 105. So we're plus 105, and the total will make it 5.5.
5.5. I'm gonna slam that under. Just based on everything you told me, I'm gonna slam that under for the limit. Give me the limit on that.
So Saturday morning, we're ready to go, man.
Thursday morning.
Saturday morning.
Saturday morning. All right. Yeah, we're gonna need some updates from that for sure. Maybe when we send out our Saturday best bets this week, we'll have to post a final score update there as well. Speaking of best bets, last night's best bets did not go great. It was a 1-3 night for the show. Just pulling up the results here. So the Sens coin flip game does not get home. They lose in a shootout. I mean, maybe, a bit fortunate they were able to come back, but a bit unfortunate they weren't able to capitalize on that power play in overtime and then losing the shootout. I still think that's the right side there. Habs blow a 3-0 lead. They're the other end of that, but they find a way to win. Kind of a similar situation to that to the Caps there. Isles just a bad bet. The Rangers scored on a header to start the game. I mean, that just sums it up. That was one of the weirdest goals I've ever seen. Just Rangers hockey, Isles hockey, just a disaster. And then the Lightning, another one where basically a coin flip, you're getting plus 122 there. A very bad close. That one, obviously. Well, not very bad. I guess it got bet up significantly post-show, but then there was some significant buyback leading back into puck drop. So not a terrible close, I guess. But again, I think maybe not necessarily the right side, Tampa, but again, another coin flip game where you're getting a bigger plus money there. I think it was a good bet. Sorelli obviously hits the crossbar. McDonald stopped on a breakaway. Hedman hits the post with a second left. A lot of opportunities for them to send that game to overtime. Unfortunately, could not get there, and we have to settle for a 1-3 night. I don't know how your night went. If you were on some of those, I'm assuming you were on the Sens. I just want to. I just assumed that would be the case. I don't know about the rest of your card, but yeah, how was your Monday?
Yeah, I had a bad day betting wise. I went 0-3, and I had all three of those sides, coincidentally enough. So yeah, I was on all three of those sides. Those were my bets, all of my bets yesterday, in hockey, and I ended up going 0-3.
Okay. Well, better things ahead tonight. We have I think 10 games to get to, and feeling like it's a decent card. I don't know. I mean, not like a great card, but there's I think some decent numbers on the board. I think we'll be able to find some value here for sure. Before we get into these games, Puckheads, the NHL playoffs are right around the corner, and FanDuel is bringing you the best bets on the ice. Get in the lab when you make your same game parlay by checking out FanDuel's player performance pages that track stats and averages all of your favorite players. Once you know who's cooking, add shots on goal, points, assists, or even goalie saves to your SGP. Miss puck drop, you can still tap in with live same-game parlay and period-specific player props. Right now, new customers can kick off the season with $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Just place any $5 bet, and you'll get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Download FanDuel Sportsbook and make every moment more. Please play responsibly. Must be 21 plus and present in select states, or 18 plus and present in DC, or 19 plus and physically located in Ontario. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-866-531-2600 or visit connexontario.ca. Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit fanduel.com/RG. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut or visit nbgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or 1-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts, or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York. All right, let's get into these games tonight.
I made a whole new cup of coffee while you were doing that.
No, amazing. You had about 3 minutes to do it, so that works out. I gotta say, yesterday's solo show was very, very difficult to try and track lineup news for baseball, goalie news for hockey, injuries, all that. It was very difficult. Found a way to make it work. Even got a bet in on the Angels at minus 145. That closed minus 180-ish and lost about 10-3. So yeah, all in all, not a great day for giving out bets on this show. I will say though, the parlays yesterday a lot better. I think I felt good about those. The no goal parlay cashed, where we had it was I think Bedard, who was the one that made me the most nervous. I guess they're considering the offensive outburst the Blackhawks had, but no goal for Bedard, no goal for Zibanejad, and no goal for Dylan Strome. Although Strome did score the shootout winner, but doesn't matter for the sake of the no goal parlay, which gets home at plus 125. The anytime goal parlay does not get home. If you round robin them, you maybe broke even, or maybe took even a small profit, because we got Braden Point and Nick Suzuki, who both scored. Fiala and Nylander did not, though. So hopefully we can come a little bit closer today. Maybe get one of these home sooner or later. But let's get into the games first. So we got Preds at Bruins to start this one off here, as it was put in the chat here by John Smith. Battle of the mid in Boston tonight.
Yeah.
Preds plus 105, Bruins minus 126, total of 5.5, minus 114 to the over, minus 106 to the under. So Money, do you like anything here?
What do you do here, right? Like if you told me that both these teams suck, give me the dog. I'll be like, okay. If you tell me that Boston's the better team, they're at home, but there's not enough of a premium put on home ice because Nashville's that bad on the road, I'd be like, okay, right? Like, I mean, I think it's lined well. Neither team I'm interested in betting on going forward. We've talked about Boston. We've talked about Nashville. They're both done in my eyes. The total, you could make a case for an under here, but I mean, I don't really know what to expect from either team playing each other. So I will pass. There's a couple of better opportunities on the board, and this one is not a game that I'm too interested in at this point.
I am not going to lie to you. I am on the cusp here. I like the Bruins a little bit. I know there's not a lot to like about Boston. I get it. They're kind of in shambles right now. They're dealing with a lot of injuries. I understand, but like there are so few redeeming qualities for this Preds team. I can't see how you have any appetite to back them whatsoever. I do not believe in this team at all. They are just an absolute mess, especially on the road. They're pretty much pathetic right now. They've lost 6 straight on the road. Rangers, Islanders, Blackhawks, Penguins, Sabres, and Ducks. They're not even playing good teams, and they are getting run out of the building on a lot of nights. It's really ugly. The body language is bad. I feel like they don't even want to be out there. They don't want to be playing. Something needs to change. I know the Bruins are struggling, and I know they have a lot of injuries, but like this feels like a market low for them. They've still been competitive and played well in some of their recent losses. They deserved a lot better against Toronto. They deserved a lot better against Minnesota. They're still putting forth effort at the very least. You have to say that you're getting a Bruins level effort from them. They got guys that still care, that don't want to just fall out of the race, whether it's, for Pasternak or whoever. They're still playing for some of these guys. Swayman is still playing well. I do feel we're going to get the Swayman start here. Korpisalo just went on Saturday, so I feel good about that. And it'll probably be Saros as well, which I'm fine with. He's fighting the puck right now most nights. So, yeah, I was just not sure like how I felt about giving it out here because it has been bet up a little bit since this morning. But, I mean, it hasn't ticked all that much. So I think we're still fine. The minus 126 is minus 126 on FanDuel as well. One of the best prices in market. So I think I'm good locking that in here at FanDuel at minus 126. So no opposition from you, but no consensus either here. It's not exactly easy to back the Bruins right now. I think that I don't think we've reached the bottom for this Preds team in terms of the market, at least. Like they're still being priced as a competent team, whereas they're a lot closer to the Chicagos and San Jose's of the world. And that's just the reality of it, I think. All right, let's move on to the next game here. We have the Hurricanes at the Wings. Canes minus 205, Wings plus 168, a total of 6.5 plus 100 to the over, minus 122 to the under. Wings did you a nice solid. Did all of us a nice solid over these last couple of games, losing both of them to Columbus. They got destroyed in that first game of that back-to-back. Probably deserved better in the outdoor game, gotta say, but doesn't matter. Close only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades, as they say. They do not find a way to get it done. The Blue Jackets are now surging, and the Wings are all of a sudden dragged right back into the thick of this race with a number of teams hot on their heels. Do you have anything in this game here?
I don't have anything on this game. It was interesting to see the Carolina money come in. I don't disagree with it, but it's not. But at the current number now, it's not something that I want to be. I'm too interested in. The thing I will say about the Wings is that we talked about these teams in the Eastern race a couple of weeks ago, where they're all the same team basically. You're gonna have Surges and you're gonna have teams that struggle. You're going to have long winning streaks, and you're going to have shitty results. And right now, Detroit is in the phase where they're not getting results after a period of time when they were getting all the results, right? So that's the crux of a 500 team, right? That's the very definition of a 500 team. And a lot of these teams at the bottom half of the playoff race, they are 500 teams. So it shouldn't come as too much of a surprise that Detroit is struggling. It shouldn't come as too much of a surprise if in a couple of weeks they've put together 3 or 4 wins together. So that's just the way it goes right now against Carolina. I think it's a tough matchup for them. Carolina is generating offensively, especially the last few games here. I thought in that 3-1 loss against Edmonton, I actually thought they looked very good. They just that was just a bad defensive effort from them. But offensively, I've been impressed with Carolina. I think they're coming around. The goals aren't there right now, but I think that the goals are just around the corner. Against Detroit, who is having trouble defensively lately, I think that we might see a Carolina possible breakout here. 6 has already been juiced to the over, so can't really do anything. But I do like Carolina. I do think that this has potential to go over as well. But in terms of betting into the numbers, I won't have anything here.
Yeah, I've been critical of Carolina, and I think like maybe for good reason, but it does seem like maybe they're figuring things out a little bit here again. Back to their pretty gaudy underlying numbers the last few games. Granted, they're dominating the Sabres and Flyers. Not exactly something I would say they're fixed here. I do still think the market is now too high given the fact that they've just taken all this money again. I do understand it though. As much as I think maybe Detroit can be feisty, and I've come around a little bit on them. I still am not overly high on this team. So not necessarily the spot I want to fade the Carolina money in, so I'm not going to do it here. I just think it's matchup-wise, it's a little bit of a tough one for the Wings. Like defensively, they can be loose for stretches, and they especially tend to lead chances against teams that kind of play Carolina's way, that like to forecheck and get after pucks. The Wings struggle to defend that a little bit. They're much better when they're able to kind of step up on teams of the blue line and slow, teams that like to attack in transition. That's not how Carolina likes to play, so I do not think it is a good matchup for Detroit here. So for that reason, I won't fade the Carolina money here, but I do think there are going to be some spots to fade Carolina coming up still. If we don't see that this continued turnaround is real and maintained, because they do have some tougher games coming up against Winnipeg and Tampa Bay. But nothing here. We will move on for now as we hold off of this one, just to lean to Carolina and the over for So Money. Maybe a slight lean the other way for myself on the side. We have 2 very interesting teams in this next game here, the Flames and the Flyers. 2 teams that I've kind of written off at different points now since the break, or before the break, or even earlier in the season, whatever. I was once high on this Flyers team. I thought they were kind of dead after making that trade. It seemed like it had a negative effect on the room. Now they're kind of back to playing some entertaining hockey and playing good hockey and winning games again. They're exciting. They're back to dominating teams at 5-on-5. We haven't seen this from them in a while, but it seems like they've kind of rediscovered their game, and now they're taking on a Flames team that still has dragged themselves right back into this wild card race. They're in the thick of it right now. They're playing competitive hockey still. I know they've lost 3 in a row, but the schedule was very difficult. They're playing well. They are not an easy out on any night. I keep waiting for the other shoe to drop. It is not happening. Interesting game here is the Flyers -152, Flames +126. Flyers have obviously taken some money throughout the morning here a little bit. Do you agree with that money? Are you going to fade that money and get in on Calgary? Going to look and joining maybe some of this under money? Where are you at in this one?
There's an interesting quote from Tortorella from yesterday. He says, "At times I think we have the problem solved. Other times I say, holy shit, are we just not thinking?" And I mean that just captures the whole Flyer season. In fact, it captures what we've been talking about with each of these teams at the bottom end of the playoff pictures in the Eastern Conference. I don't disagree with the money that the Flyers took. I think that they should be a favorite. and I think they should be probably a healthy favorite. Calgary, I think we are starting to see Calgary dip a little bit. They haven't played well the last few games here. Now, we did have Tampa. I mean, they're coming off a stretch where they're playing Washington, Tampa Bay, Florida, and Carolina, right?
Yes.
So, I mean, we have to take that into account when we're talking about Calgary not looking good the last few games. I watched that game against Florida on a Saturday, I believe, or over the weekend, and you could just see that Florida was just a better team. Like Calgary was trying to be feisty, but they just had nothing, and they stuck around. They kept it close for as long as they could, but I never got the sense that that game was in danger for Florida. They were controlling everything, and it was just a matter of time before Florida got a couple of goals in, and they did. So
Vladar was unbelievable in that game.
Yeah, right. So Calgary does take a step down in competition here against the Flyers team, who I'm the same as you. I was high on them. I still have a ticket on them to make the playoffs. It gets revived every few games here and there, and then it's back down to being dead afterwards. So right now it's still live right now for a little bit. And the Flyers have looked good lately. Granted, they've played like 10 games against the Penguins the last couple of weeks, so we're going to take that into account as well. It is an interesting game. I do think that we're getting a little bit higher on the Flyers now in the market, but I want to see a little bit from Calgary in the sense of like, were they struggling because they were playing better teams, or were they struggling because we're starting to see them start to dip as the season goes on and kind of get back to what we expected from the Flames? So that's something that I need to monitor first. And Kyrie Irving out for the season, right? So that's something that I want to keep.
Tell you what team he plays for, honestly. I couldn't tell you. Is it Brooklyn still, or does he play for Brooklyn?
The Mavericks, man.
Oh man, that's rough. That's bad. I'm not even gonna try to talk NBA here.
Yeah, so it's something that I want to keep in mind. Nothing for me in this game. I kind of want to see where Calgary goes in the next couple of games here before I officially write them off. I don't think Calgary's going to make the playoffs. I think that last wild card spot at this point is going to come down between St. Louis and Utah. So, just another game. I want to see Calgary play against a weaker team first before I make a final assessment on them.
St. Louis and Utah. Are you ruling out the Canucks in that, or you're saying the Canucks' biggest competition is going to come from St. Louis and Utah?
At this point, I think the Canucks are done.
Wow.
Unless if Demko can come back pretty quickly here and find his form, I think what we're seeing from Lankinen is kind of what I feared when I talked about this a couple of months ago, is that he's never been put in a position where he needs to be the everyday guy. And I started seeing it last game where just positionally he was off. You can always tell how tired a goaltender is physically based on how quickly he can go down. And once the low shots are going in, then that's usually trouble for a goaltender. And I'm starting to see Lankinen kind of struggle now. And it's what's to be expected. We see this all the time with goaltenders when they have to carry a bigger load than they have in their whole careers, and we're kind of seeing that from Lankinen. Canucks defensively, there's obviously internal problems there that go beyond. Like the Pettersson JT Miller thing obviously was a big deal, but there's clearly stuff that goes beyond that, right? And I don't know if it's a coaching thing. I know there's talk about Tocchet not wanting to come back, or the Canucks not wanting to bring him back. Whatever the case is, there's something else going on there. And usually in these cases where you have a star player like Pettersson, who's supposed to be a star player, and he's playing the way that he is, and it's between the ears for him. Generally, you can't realistically trade Pedersen and expect to get market value. So what you can do is try to find a coach that can get in his ear better, and whatever's plaguing him internally, try to get rid of that. And a lot of times we see that coaches like Greg Tocchet, sometimes their shelf life is just gets worn out. So I think we're starting to see that the team, once the team doesn't start playing well defensively, you know that they're done. So because there's nothing else with the Canucks right now if they're not going to play well defensively.
Kind of like Laviolette in that sense, where these guys have like a shelf life, right? They're good and they're effective for a couple of years, but eventually, like, guys just tune those guys out and you need to make a change. Okay, so back to this Calgary Flyers game. Nothing from either of us for now. There is some news coming out of not news, but there's confirmation that Justin Wolf is the starter and that Samuel Erskin will go for Philly. Also, Guy Gaudreau is there at Flames Morning Skate. He's on the ice in a tracksuit, skating with the Flames, which is pretty awesome. Probably maybe a little bit of a bump there for them. This is also the Morgan Frost and Joel Farabee revenge game for Calgary. Have to say, though, Farabee has not exactly been working out very well for this team. Not playing a ton of minutes, not exactly scoring, not contributing all that much, and Morgan Frost kind of in a similar situation. They haven't exactly done all that much since coming over, but obviously, a little bit of hate there for at least for one of them, for Tortorella. So maybe someone to add to our anytime goal parlay. I will get in on Calgary if we start seeing like a +1, like high one, maybe like low 130, like even +130. I'll probably get involved. Looks like we did have a 130 when we were on air at one point that flashed very quickly and was bought away. I did not obviously get that. But if we do get some more Philly money that comes through and we get out to that spot, I think I would be inclined to start to make a little bit of a bet on the Flames here. But until then, we have nothing for now. We'll move on to the next game where I think we know where we're heading here. So Money, do I even need to talk about the games? Do I even tee up the game? Should I just have the producer lock it in behind the scenes immediately? We got the Blue Jackets taking on Jonas Johansson and the Tampa Bay Lightning. Lightning -162, Jackets down to 134 on FanDuel. Total of 6.5, -128 to the over, +104 to the under. So Money, do your thing here.
I mean, is there even a question at this point? Yeah, I've already played the Blue Jackets. Like them down to +130-ish. I love this team. Like I've been talking about it for a couple of weeks now. We're still getting these numbers on the Blue Jackets that we really shouldn't be. And so as long as that's happening, let's keep taking advantage of it. They're gonna get Chinakov back tonight.
Nice. A nice little boost there.
Yeah. So that's gonna be a big that's a big bump for them. And again, it's what I always stress. It's not necessarily about the player. It's about the minutes allocation throughout the lineup. So now with him in there, we're gonna start seeing a better distribution of minutes that is more optimal for this Blue Jackets team. Tampa Bay, they've been playing well. I haven't had a problem with the way Tampa Bay has been playing, and I'm still high on them. Obviously, we have a downgrade on the goaltending. So the edge here is the goaltending, as well as I think that Columbus is much, much better than the numbers that we are getting to bet on them. And as long as that's happening, I keep betting the Blue Jackets every game. I'm going to keep doing it. I bet them to win the Eastern Conference as well. We've got them to make the playoffs. Like, it's just we're all Jackets.
We're all BJs here.
We're all BJs.
No, I mean that's the only way I think you could look in this game. They're catching Tampa at pretty much the perfect spot here too, where Tampa coming off that tough, hard physical game against the Panthers last night, left it all out there, left a lot of it out there at least. A very physical, very good competitive hockey game. And now to come back the next night with Johansson in net against the Jackets team that's kind of been rested for the last few days. It's playing really well. just catching them at a really good time. Columbus here catching Tampa at a good time. Johansson, obviously, maybe not the goalie we once knew and loved, where he was an auto fade and just like a gas can, but he has been back to playing some bad hockey again. I mean, at least like not bad, but like very below average for sure. 5 of his last 6 starts posted a negative goal saved above expected. Averaging a full goal saved below expected in those 5 games. So yeah, definitely back to letting in some softies a little bit here. I really don't want to bet against Tampa very much down the stretch because I am high on this team. I do think they do have a good run in them right now, but this is obviously a spot where you have to. I just think you have to. This is just too big of a number given how well Columbus is playing in the situational spot, the goaltending matchup, all that sort of stuff. I'm on Columbus as well here. I think obviously if you haven't bet the over by now, you kind of missed the boat there. That has run significantly. You're getting best price is like low to mid -120s on the over 6.5. So nothing that we can do with that at this point. But yeah, we will lock in a double best bet on the Blue Jackets here. Surprise, surprise! Every single game at this point, it's just an auto fire here. Speaking of, well, not necessarily auto fires, but speaking of your kind of favorite teams here, Macklin Celebrini and the San Jose Sharks, fresh off a shocking win over the Leafs last night in the prime game. Sharks plus 180 now in Buffalo. Sabres minus 220. Total of 6.5, minus 114 to the under, minus 106 to the over. What do you think about this game here, So Money?
It's a big number on Buffalo, obviously. They do, I believe Luukkonen is going to start in net. Reimer started yesterday. Buffalo played well yesterday. They just didn't get the result. San Jose, yeah, surprise win against Toronto. They played well enough to win that game. Toronto was the better team, but San Jose was able to pull off the result. I just have trouble with this game. There's no back-to-back advantage necessarily, but yeah, I'm gonna reluctantly pass on this game. I do think that I do think that the number is too high on Buffalo, but I'm not there on San Jose right now, especially because I have trouble with their goaltending at this moment with Vanacek probably starting tonight. So I will end up passing. It's funny because I would have preferred Georgiev, and like we've like talked about him the last couple of years, but he's actually the better option there right now. So with Vanacek, it's not something that I can get involved with.
Yeah, I agree. And with UPL starting tonight too, obviously Reimer going last night there for the Sabres. Don't have any interest in really backing the Sharks here. Like I said, like when they win games, everything needs to go so right. And last night, that's basically what happened. Where like they were able to just coax the Leafs into just like a sleepwalking state. The Leafs should have won that game if they wanted to. They just didn't play. They got a bit of a lead. They got some power plays. They got 2 goals, and they thought, okay, well, this game is over. We can coast through the third period here, not break a sweat, and everything will be fine. And yeah, ultimately that was not the case. That cannot happen. I still honestly am not. Sounds crazy, but like I'm still not that low on this Buffalo team. I do think the roster is very good, especially when they're healthy, which they are kind of healthy right now. They do have a lot of pieces up there. I think discipline is a problem. Maybe coaching is a little bit of an issue, but they still have a lot of talent on this team. They are a lot better than their record indicates for sure. I think they honestly would be right there in this playoff race right now if it wasn't for and they did lose those, whatever crazy like 16, 17 games in a row that they did. But like if they could have just avoided that absolutely disastrous stretch, they're right there in this playoff race right now. We're probably talking about the Sabres team a little bit differently down the stretch. So it does look like a big number, but not one that I have interest in fading here either. Okay, Jets at the Islanders. This Islanders team is going to break me. I swear to God, I can't even talk about them anymore. It's just too painful. The money that I keep bleeding away on these Isles, plus 158 here at home to the Jets, minus 192 for Winnipeg. Total of 5.5, minus 104 to the under, minus 118 to the over. So you said you were on the Isles as well with me last night. Are you going back to the Islanders? Well, do you think there's going to be a response from this? God, I'm gonna call it a juggernaut. They make me sick. I can't do it anymore with them. I'm so over it. I don't know. I want to pretend this game doesn't even exist because I do have a lean, more so on the total here than the side. But where are you at with this one?
Yeah, I was on the Islanders yesterday as well. I mean, the number's high, but we're gonna get a downgrade in goaltending here for the Islanders. Probably still get Hellebuck in goal with their with the back-to-back coming up for the Jets. It's just, and the Jets are coming off a couple of oh God, Albert, and the Jets
Albert's won
are
like 7 bets this season on the show, and he's laughing about one that was made yesterday.
unreal. And but yeah, the Jets are coming off back-to-back losses here as well. I think that even on the road here, I think the Islanders might be running into a buzzsaw here tonight. So I will pass on this game. I do like the over a little bit.
Yeah.
I think the number is still there. Yeah, I think I'm comfortable locking the over. Yeah, I think
that's my bet in this game here too.
Oh, perfect. Yeah. So I think the over looks good here. My only concern would be the Jets going on a business trip here. They get up 3-0, 4-0 or whatever, and just lock it in. So that would be the concern. But I think that a flat 5.5 kind of accounts for that as well. So it's a little bit juiced on the 5.5 now. But yeah, I think the over 5.5 is what I'll be locking in momentarily.
Yeah. For myself included here, I like the over. The Islanders obviously couldn't generate really anything last night. They were kind of stuck in mud, but like they have been playing very high event hockey. Even against good teams, they're generating offense. They're creating chances. They are playing, with the defensive injuries and whatever that they got dealing with. They are playing a different brand of hockey than this, than these 5.5s kind of warrant. Obviously, a significant downgrade here in net. Whether they choose to go to Sorokin again or not, I don't think they will. But if they do, like Sorokin on a back-to-back here, the amount of hockey he's played, he's just not the same goalie at this point, given all the hockey he's played. So, yeah, I understand Hellebuck is great, but the Isles are feisty, and they are generating against everyone on most nights at least. Obviously, it feels funny to say that. They got shut out with 21 shots last night, but like they are generating offense. I do think that this number is a little bit too low. I think this has a little bit of room to run here. So over 5.5 for myself as well in this game. Yeah, I do hope they go scarred. So I think they should be able to kind of name their score a little bit here if they do. All right, moving on here to the Jack Hughes-less Devils, who are taking on the Dallas Stars. The Stars have been bet out quite a bit this morning. Now out to -182 on FanDuel. Devils +150. Total of 5.5, -110 either side. Do you think is there was a big enough adjustment? Is it now bet into place, or now do you think it's a bit of an over adjustment without Hughes? Where are you at with this Devils Stars game tonight?
I think the Devils are in trouble, not just in this game, but overall in the season as well. We need word on what the situation is with Hughes, but they also need to, even with him in the lineup, they also need to address some deficiencies there as well. It's nice that Markstrom's back, and he played. I thought he was fine against Vegas. What I will say about Markstrom throughout his career is that off of injury, it does take him a little bit of time, and it's not. I don't think the Devils can afford the time right now. So even though he looked well, I think that going forward, I still want to give him a couple of games, and they have not a tough stretch, but they have Dallas and Winnipeg coming up here, which is going to be interesting. Markstrom should get both of those starts, and then we'll kind of have to go from there. But even overall in the season, I'm concerned about the Devils. They haven't been playing well the last little bit here. And I mean, granted, you look at their schedule. We've got Vegas in there, we got Dallas in there, Colorado game, a Utah game. That's not an easy out, and Vegas as well. And now we're back to Dallas and Winnipeg. So So we'll see how New Jersey can navigate the next couple of games here. But I'm very underwhelmed by their play. Even through their wins here, you even look at that 5-0 win against Nashville, right? Like that was a game that snowballed on the Predators. It wasn't necessarily anything that the Devils impressed me by. And I was on the Devils on that game as well, but I didn't come away impressed by anything the Devils did. It was more so that this Nashville team is brutal, right? So so long term, for the rest of the season, I am worried about New Jersey. I think that they have enough of a cushion in the playoff race. So although there might be some value to bet on the Devils to miss the playoffs, especially considering Hughes' injury, and if they don't address their deficiencies in the trade deadline, I think that there is value there. But at the same time, I think that they might have enough of a cushion. So I expect the Devils to continue to struggle, and Columbus will probably catch them in the standings as well. But yeah, at this point, I'm not going to be getting involved with this game.
Yeah. On the side, I agree. Total, I do have a strong lean towards the over here as well at this 5.5. It's just tough to pull the trigger without Jack Hughes because honestly, I don't think it's people talk about like the wagon that this Devils team is coming into the season. They're dangerously thin up front still. They're not a very deep group, especially when you take out one of those top guys. And obviously, you can say that about a lot of teams. You take out one of their top guys, but like the lineup thins out in a hurry. You're now wondering where they're going to get any sort of like secondary scoring from. Are they going to? They can't lean into that top line for scoring now. Like it's kind of rough. Which will probably just be enough to keep me off of this right now. But just given the goaltending matchup, I think we're getting a little bit too deflated of a number here. And the Stars are just not playing that brand of hockey. Like they're not playing 5.5 total hockey right now. They are playing open-ended. Obviously, with the injuries on the back end, they're giving up their chances, but they are just overwhelming teams with what they can generate offensively, and they're kind of naming their score when they want to. I do think that this has some sneaky over potential, but just not something that I bet because I am a little bit concerned still in New Jersey's ability to generate here without Jack Hughes, especially first game now without him, trying to adjust and get the line sort of settled in here. Kind of a tough spot for that. So it'll be enough to keep me off it, but it is a strong lean here towards the over for myself.
I'm also concerned. I'm also concerned about the Devils because of my President's Trophy curse. The last time I bet a President's Trophy team, they missed the playoffs. Right, so it could
just means another spot available for my Habs.
Yeah, it could happen.
Dare to dream. Darren Dreger reported this morning that the Habs are also making a little bit of progress with Jake Evans now in contract talks. Maybe they can come to some sort of agreement, keep him in Montreal, and just reward the guys with some. I think honestly, there's something to be said about like whether they make the playoffs or not. Like you want guys to play meaningful games and get a taste of like what it's like to play meaningful hockey in games that matter. You can't just throw in the towel every year and play, with zero pressure.
Totally
no incentive, anything for the last 25, 30 games. You got to kind of get acclimated to having a little pressure and playing games with some higher stakes. So I think there's something to be said for that. I
completely agree. And that was my point with the Blue Jackets as well. Now they've turned into a juggernaut and they are the best team in the league right now. But right. But I mean, like the point was that like at some point, even if you get smoked in the first round, you still need to make the playoffs at some point with these kids, right? Like you need to have them play in a game like that. You need to see what you have in those kind of situations. You can be in the Sabres mold and rebuild all you want, right? And but you never figure out what you have in big games because you're always thinking about that. Well, we're gonna get smoked anyway, so we're not gonna make it. Or like we're not going to push for it, and that's okay for a team like Boston, who are going to be back. But it's not okay for teams that never make it in the first place, and you're constantly missing the playoffs anyways, and you never get to see what you have in these kids.
Yeah, I mean, constantly trading guys for futures it sounds good, but once you've done it for like 5, 6, 7, 8 years, it becomes a little bit redundant. There's only so many, guys you can have in your system. There's only so many picks you can make. It becomes a little bit like you need to change course a little bit and change things up. We've seen it with Buffalo and Ottawa. Like, look how long their rebuilds have taken, how long it's been since they've been competitive, and they've been stockpiling picks and prospects for years now. It's not that easy. Obviously, it's not that easy. All right, moving on to the Pens and the Avs here. Avs minus 280 at home to Pittsburgh, plus 225. Total of 6.5, minus 110 to both sides. This Pens team, man, I cannot even stomach anything with them right now, with the way the goaltending's been. Maybe the worst collective team goaltending I've seen in some time. Team as a whole obviously isn't very good, so naturally they're kind of up and down in terms of performances, but like they haven't been terrible. They can string together some decent games. It's just a matter of like when they do string together those good games, are they getting saves or not? And more often than not, it's been no, they are not getting saves. Just has to be so deflating because even when they turn in good performances, the goaltending's been brutal. Now taking on an Avs team that's just rolling with Nichushkin back. They're rested. They haven't played since Friday. They were at home on Friday too, so they've just been sitting at home for the last 4 or 5 days. Maybe not a good thing as far as Nichushkin's concerned. Who knows? But great schedule spot here. Pens played Saturday and Sunday. Now travel out west. 3rd game in 4 nights. Me personally, I couldn't even remotely stomach a Pens bet at this point. I can't bet an under either, given the Pittsburgh's goaltending situation. Even though that is the way I would lean. Obviously, no appetite for an over with how the Avs have been playing either. So this game for me is just a pass. How about yourself?
Yeah, I agree with the Penguins. Maybe Crosby will just stay in Colorado after this game.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah, it's nothing I can do here. It's frustrating because I was on the Penguins on Saturday in their loss to Boston, and I thought that they played well, right? Like I thought that we got what we expected from Boston. The Pens even got half decent goaltending in that game. It's just they're just snake bit, right? And it's just one of those seasons where not much is going to go right. So in this game, Colorado's inflated, but they should be. Nothing I can do here. I would like to see a Stanley Cup final of Colorado versus Columbus. And then
Colorado versus Gary Bettman would. Oh, Gary Bettman's salivating at the thought of Colorado and Columbus in the Cup final.
Colorado, Columbus, and we retire. How's that sound?
That sounds great. I'm on board with that for sure. I would be very down to see that. So nothing for us here in this one. Maybe some bets on these last 2 games, though, at least for myself. We have the Oilers hosting the Ducks. Oilers just kind of getting back on track, beating the Canes in that last game there. Minus 365 though here at home to the Ducks. A total of 6.5, minus 106 to the over, minus 114 to the under. Do you have anything for us in this game?
Tough. Really, I'll pass. Ultimately, I'll pass. But I see value in Anaheim. They're a feisty team. They haven't been getting the results the last few games, and the only reason I'm laying off this game is because even though they've been a feisty team over the course of the last couple of weeks or 3 weeks, if you start drilling down, besides that Canucks game, their play has started dipping as well, and that's a concern for me against an Oilers team that hasn't been getting the results, but I have no problem with the Oilers going forward. So I think that this could ultimately be a perfect storm where the Oilers start getting things right. And even though I have value on Anaheim, I was close to the Ducks. I think that these teams are going to start heading in different directions right now. And I don't want to be caught in the middle of that while I'm showing value on Anaheim right now. So I will end up passing this game.
Yeah, fair enough. I do think the Ducks, the one thing you could say about how they've been playing, and they've been playing better, is that their schedule's been pretty much a joke. They have not
Yeah.
had many tough games lately, and this is obviously a big step up in class for them. I talked a lot about how the Oilers tend to play against good teams and how they tend to play against bad teams. I do think they play a lot looser in these sort of games. Getting the offense going right now is definitely a bit of a priority for them. Getting those guys off the mark a little bit after they've been a little, not snake bit, but like, the offense is stalled for sure. Defensively, I'm sure they want to, correct things a little bit there as well. But I think that's more going to be through trade at this point, because they are a little bit of a mess defensively. They're bleeding chances to pretty much anyone. This does strike me as like being a higher scoring game, a back and forth sort of game, where I do like the over 6.5. Ducks, like, Dostal is obviously scary in terms of betting it over here, but I think that the Oilers should just be able to generate so much that it won't matter. And obviously Dostal hasn't been been playing at the same level in quite a bit either. I think fatigue's been kicking in with, the Gibson injury and how much he's been asked to play this year. Like, it's a lot more hockey than he's ever really had to play before, especially at this level. So not necessarily the same Dostal either here, which makes me a little bit more confident in this over at least as well. But yeah, just the way both teams are playing and the way both teams probably try and approach this game, I don't think Anaheim can really have their say in trying to muddy this up or slow this game down whatsoever. I think Edmonton will be content in playing back and forth. They will be able to overwhelm Anaheim and generate as much as they want, and Anaheim should be able to get theirs given how leaky the Oilers have been defensively. So over 6.5 for myself in this one. Minus 105s are very widely available. That is the way I would look here. Do you have any agreement or disagreement on total wise here?
No, I think I see your point on the over, and I don't disagree. I just can't get there right now.
Yeah, fair enough. One more game to get to tonight: the Wild in Seattle taking on the Kraken. Kraken minus 125, Wild plus 104. Total of 5.5, minus 102 to the over, minus 120 to the under on FanDuel here. So, Money, I know you have bet the Kraken quite a few times at home this season. Hasn't always gone well. Seems like you do have a little bit of a soft spot for this team, and you do like to fade the Wild quite a bit, especially right now. Are you leaning Kraken here? Are you betting Kraken here? Are you abstaining? Where is your head at for this final game of the night?
I did bet the Crack. We're on Crack tonight. I think that, don't tell me that a 1-0 win against Boston in a game that you didn't play well has solved your problems and you're headed towards and you're headed in the right direction, right? I don't buy it. Minnesota is a team I love fading. I've said that there's going to be opportunities. Yes, it's not as if Seattle is a great team or anything like that, but they do tend to play better at home. My concern is that Grubauer is back in the NHL. I don't know if he's going to start. Probably not. But the thing is, even if he does, right? Like, how much worse can it be, right?
A lot worse.
But like, I just look from the sense of, like, we knew how bad he was when he was in the NHL and before he got sent down. So now that he's back up, is he still going to be as bad as he was before he was sent down? Like, chances are he's not, right? Like, he is theoretically an NHL caliber goaltender, and who just wasn't playing at NHL level, and he got sent down. So, and this is all thinking if he starts, and I don't even necessarily think he's going to start.
I don't
tonight.
think they'll. I don't think start.
Yeah. I think they'll go with the court, but I watched Seattle play against the Canucks. I got first-hand view of them, and that was a deceiving score. Lankinen was bad in that game, and Seattle, they scored 6 goals. They don't score 6 in a couple of weeks sometimes. So I think that we'll have a low-scoring game here. I agree with the total of the 5.5, and I think that Seattle just has a little bit more than what Minnesota has right now, and I did bet Seattle. I think we're still okay at the current number. Up to minus 125 is fine. Anything beyond that, it would lose my interest.
So I'm not turning this into a head-to-head because I'm not betting the Wild, but I would lean the other way here. I just think this Seattle team is so bad, and they're just so reliant on goaltending to win games. And that's they have the goaltending, right? Like, Decord is fantastic, and when he's in there, I know the irony is that I say that, and like I bet the under the other night against St. Louis, and that was his worst start of the season. If I pull it up here, Decord, by far his worst start of the season, minus 3.26 goals saved below expected in that game. It was miserable, but he is fantastic. 22.96 goals saved above expected on the season. He is in the top 5 there. He has been unbelievable. He masks a lot of this team's issues, even on nights where they can't get out of their own end and they're bleeding chances. He keeps them in games, and to have a guy like that back there is significant. The Wild cannot say the same thing. I do think this is probably going to be a Fleury game as well for them, as Gustafsson started back-to-back games. They don't typically give him that many in a row before going back to Fleury. So I'm not betting the Wild because I do get scared off by Decord. And I do think, though, that the Wild bring it a little bit more. So, like, you kind of at least know the effort level they're going to have. Obviously, they have a lot of issues scoring given the injuries up front right now. So, like, it's kind of hard to trust them to do enough to beat Decord here to win this game. And that is why I'm on the under, though. I did bet the under. I do think under 5.5 minus 110 is still fine. I'm okay with locking that in. That's what it boils down to is yes, Seattle defensively maybe not necessarily a 5.5 team, but Decord very much makes them one. And against the Wild, who cannot generate or score to save their lives right now, given their injuries up front and the kind of state of the team right now, I don't think they're the team to take advantage here anyways. Seattle offensively, not exactly a team that's going to overwhelm or trouble Minnesota here. It's just hard to see goals in this one. Very difficult to see where they come from. I'm excited to find out as I'm driving home from hockey tonight, and I check the score, and every time I check, it's 2-1, 2-2, 3-2. Okay, great. But I do like this under 5.5 minus 110. Hopefully we get a better game from Decord than he gave us when we bet this under last week. That's it. That'll do it for our games tonight. Do you have anything else to add here? Anything while we've been talking, anything that's moved or got into range for you, anything like that? Or we're good here still?
No, we're good. I saw Columbus and Tampa Bay take some more over money. It's out of range now. It was out of range when we started the show, but it's interesting to see them take even more money here.
Yeah, no more Flyers money's come through either, so nothing yet that we can do here with the Flames. So, all right, send your goal scores in the chat. I will recap our best bets here. We can throw together another parlay before we get out of here. We have the Bruins minus 126, Jackets plus 145. We have the Jets and Isles over 5.5 minus 111, Ducks, Oilers over 6.5 minus 105, Wild, Kraken under 5.5 minus 110, and then the Kraken minus 120. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 best bets for us tonight in 10 games. Not bad. I like this card. I feel pretty good about where we're at with this one. We will throw a very quick anytime goal score parlay together here. I know you probably got to get out of here. Do you have any team you want to target here for them?
I do.
Okay. All right. I love it.
I do today.
I love it.
Boone Jenner is going to score a goal tonight.
Boone Jenner is going to score. Absolutely, he's going to score. I agree with that. Boone Jenner, I don't even have a number for you. I'm just talking out my ass here. But Jenner plus 250. Ooh, really sharp number at FanDuel, too. They got the FanDuel lean towards Boone Jenner. So we'll get a Boone Jenner in there. We had some suggestions in the chat as well. Go back and find them here. We have a Hyman plus 165. You like that? I like that.
Yeah.
Hyman plus 165. I'm good. Charles says Voronkov or Fantilli, but we did just put in Boone Jenner, so I think we're going to have to pass on that one. Brian says Jackson Blake plus 350. I like that. Yeah. 300 on FanDuel. That's all right. Let's do it. Jackson Blake. So Blake, Hyman, Jenner. Let's get one more in there.
Let's get Charles in there. Pasta or Natchez.
Pasta or Natchez. Okay, let's see here. Natchez is plus 175. I mean, against Pittsburgh, how do you not?
That makes a lot more sense, yeah.
And Costa plus 100 here in what I still think could be a low scoring game. So let's go Netchus to round out this anytime goal scorer parlay. 4 legs. This one came together quick. I like that. Some confidence from the chat today. After we went 2 for 4 last night. Let's go 3 here, and then we'll culminate in a 4 for 4 on later this week. All right, Boone Jenner, Zach Hyman, Jackson Blake, Martin Netchus, 95-1. $10 wins you $952.50. That'll do it for us today. Appreciate everyone for tuning in. We will be back 10:30 a.m. Eastern time tomorrow. A special return guest tomorrow on the show. Yeah, I'm not gonna spoil it any more than that for now. We will see you all back here tomorrow to find out who it is. Until then, appreciate everyone tuning in. If you can like the stream, comment, all that sort of stuff, we would appreciate it. It does go a long way in helping us grow. Until then, we will see you tomorrow. Enjoy the games tonight and good luck on your bets.